Did you know that Gen 1 structures its world just like a survival horror game? We have a military backstory, crime syndicates, even paranormal activity. Welcome to OpenSplit, and let's completely change how you see one of the greatest games ever made, Pokémon Red and Blue. The physical layout of Gen 1's Kanto region reflects a society completely lacking in any form of basic infrastructure across regions. Towns sit entirely isolated. They are connected only by narrow dirt paths, unlit caves, and water routes. There are no mass transit systems, at least not in Gen 1. No highways exist except for the bicycle highway. No civil transit options are available. Instead, all the trainers block public paths. They force combat the second eye contact has been made. These people act as hostile territorial roadblocks across the map. The entire layout operates as a segmented grid of pure danger. This specific setting correlates directly with explicit game lore. The gym leader of Vermilion City delivers a critical line of dialogue right before the fight. Apparently, electric-type monsters were used in a war. Now that's an even more unsettling information. This dialogue confirms a recent, highly devastating military conflict took place. In this case, the map acts as a volatile post-war landscape, and going out to fight with these monsters could be seen as a covert training operation, maybe for another war, who knows. Looking even deeper into it, it seems that resources are entirely localized. Especially urban cities act as corporate hubs and house all major power or technological development. Celadon and Saffron City act as massive dense strongholds. Consequently, these dense cities become prime targets. They invite systemic corruption and violent territorial takeovers by criminal syndicates. The twist I am talking about here is only possible because of the hardware constraints of the original Game Boy. It forces an intense visual minimalism. This aesthetic perfectly reflects Gen 1's Kanto region under this angle. As the game relies on a high-contrast black and white or slightly tinted color palette, its brutalism is the perfect vessel for your own imagination. The world can feel much bigger and gives the implied survival horror its shape. What if it was actually a survival horror game? Well, it almost is. The fixed top-down camera limits forward visibility to just a few steps. The visual engine relies entirely on restricting the player's ability to plan ahead, and if you think about it, some places are really wild and dangerous labyrinths. So, in theory, a journey between towns would actually be a tense navigation task across dangerous paths full of man-eating monsters and freaks who attack you with their tame beasts. It's actually quite crazy. If you're still watching the video, you actually might be entertained, so please hit that subscribe button, like and share the video, and also check out my own survival roguelike on Steam. The game's actually only $10 and I try to add new updates every week, so if you want to help me out, that's one way to do it. Now, let's continue. After some time, the narrative focus in the game shifts from the desolate overworld into a violent corporate takeover. You enter the Sylph Corporation head office in Saffron City. This section drops the standard adventure structure entirely. The game locks you inside an 11-story monolithic corporate complex. An armed syndicate has completely seized the building. This criminal takeover leads you into a grueling battle of attrition against an occupying army who deploys probably bioengineered or performance-enhanced monsters as weapons. The suffocating atmosphere inside the complex transforms the encounter into a tense survival challenge with no escape. Or would you want to fight against criminals who can literally deploy psychic ghost monsters that will eat your dreams? I mean, think about that. In the game, after miraculously overthrowing this armed occupation, you are provided with the Breakthrough, which is a new tool to see ghosts. But in reality, you are only thrust from the cold reality of corporate crime into the horror of paranormal violence. After being first in the wilderness, then trapped in a building full of monsters, you now reach Lavender Town, which is truly one of the strangest places in the entire game. You are powerless against the ghost monsters until you deploy your new technology. At first glance, it does not seem like a big deal, but the area clearly introduces massive narrative weight. The entire sequence deals directly with concepts of death, haunting, and grief. The Channelers, a unique enemy which only appeared in the Gen 1 games, that are inside the tower are also not normal opponents. aren't they visually depicted as possessed, screaming entities? Now that's very unsettling. In the game, their text boxes demand blood and spirits until you break their trance, and they offer only erratic, fragmented dialogue. This section forces an abrupt encounter with mortality, and how can that not be described as survival horror? The endgame shifts focus from paranormal threats to human scientific overreach. You explore the destroyed Pokémon mansion on an island. Not the first time something like that happens. Scattered journal entries reveal chronicles of a biological expedition gone horribly wrong. The final journal entry records that the creature is far too powerful, and the researchers have failed to curb its vicious, violent tendencies. The game seems far from over to stack on tropes, as you can see. Now we are presented a final legendary entity with distinct horror imagery. Mewtwo is an escaped genetically engineered bioweapon hiding in the pitch black corners of a cave. The layout of this cave is chaotic and unmapped. You are tracking a man-made anomaly directly into its isolation zone. This is where you will finally meet and must defeat the most dangerous monster of them all. And we get the same question: will you survive? Or maybe, do you agree that Gen 1 actually feels like a survival horror game? You can tell me your opinion in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching everyone, I hope you enjoyed the video, and let's meet again in the next one. Bye!